I just bought a $15 Compaq laptop off of eBay. Now this thing is from the Windows XP era of laptops, so what exactly can be done with it today? Well, let's find out. Considering how small the package was, I wasn't sure whether they'd forgotten to put the power adapter in or not. And it turns out they simply put the laptop in cardboard with no padding or protection whatsoever. This may have caused the damage seen here, not a good start to the video, but thankfully the screen hinge hasn't been ruined due to the packaging and feels pretty solid. This laptop was released in 2003, a time where some laptops came with both a trackpad and a pointer nub, the best of both worlds. And for a 14-inch laptop, it's rather slim. But they didn't skimp out on the ports. There are 2 PC card slots, DVD combo CD rewritable drive, parallel USB Ethernet and PS2 ports, plus volume controls and audio ports on the front. But does it turn on? The answer is thankfully yes, booting into Windows XP Professional. A considerable amount of time later, it loaded to the desktop. It seemed quite sluggish and only had 512 megabytes of RAM. The hard disk was loaded with religious music, church seminars, and pirated movies. I went through and cleaned the system out, removing all of that and defragmenting the hard disk. I'll try adding some more RAM as well, but there were no covers for the RAM on the base of the system, oddly enough. And while looking, I did find this. The Bluetooth module was removable and was hiding today's sponsor, Brilliant. That's right, today's video is sponsored by Brilliant. If you're eager to learn or sharpen up your skills in math, science, and even computer science, Brilliant has lots to offer. While I'm not much of an academic type, after Brilliant reached out to me, I've been doing a few lessons nearly every day and found the logic-based problem solving to be a lot of fun. If it's not apparent, I enjoy problem solving. Keeping your mind sharp is crucial to success. You really feel like you're making progress as you complete more and more of the lessons. There's college level content for everyone across thousands of lessons and new exclusive content being added monthly. From the foundations of computer science to gravitational physics and mathematics, there is something for every corner of STEM. The fundamentals start off easier, great for learning the basics, but the courses get into some really high level problem solving. I've got a long way to fully understand these concepts. Simply by doing a few lessons each day, I've found myself hungry to keep learning more. Hey, I've been trying to fix a car with electrical issues, and I must say, doing some of these lessons has definitely changed my mindset. Problem solving can be fun, and with Brilliant, you can become a better problem solver and critical thinker. To get started for free, visit brilliant.org/Psivewri or click the link in the description below. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. It turns out the RAM was hiding under the palm rest the whole time. There were a pair of 256 megabyte sticks, and I'm upgrading that to 1.5 gigabyte across the new pair. Relievingly, the laptop detected the new RAM sticks and fired up. This made a huge difference to performance and responsiveness. Combined with the 2 GHz Pentium 4 CPU and the Radeon 7500 graphics, this should be a solid Windows XP machine. But first, I think we should see what's inside and give this compact laptop a good cleaning. There aren't many resources online for taking one of these apart, so I watched some really old YouTube videos and drew up this list of steps to take. The main battery no longer works, but due to the low value of the laptop, I don't feel the need to replace it. I will, however, replace the timekeeping battery so that it remembers BIOS settings as well as the time. The 40 GB hard disk has its label ripped off, although I'm pretty sure this is the original drive. Back in 2003, having a DVD CDRW combo drive was still a fairly high-end feature. So was Wi-Fi, and I believe this could be swapped out for an optional Wi-Fi card. And for those not fortunate enough to have wireless internet, there was also a 56K modem built in. The CMOS battery is also accessible under this door, and I don't think I've ever come across any other laptops that have the RAM tucked away right under the palm rest. Next to come out is the keyboard, held in place with a single screw on the base, and several small clips between a few of the keys themselves. The board then pops up with a bit of wriggling, and be sure to disconnect both ribbon cables for the keyboard and pointer nub. To remove the display assembly, first you've got to remove 2 screws on the back. This allows me to carefully pry up on this panel. The speakers are attached underneath and the wires are short, so be careful not to break them by pulling them off accidentally. There are then 2 connectors that must be disconnected from the motherboard. One has a grounding screw as well. Then the last pair of hinge screws can be removed. The laptop is now headless. But there is still a few more steps to get inside. Several more screws need to be removed from the base, and then 3 more from the other side. The last few screws are on the back amongst the ports. Now the top casing can be carefully removed. Once again, there are a few connectors that need to be disconnected. I thought now was a good time to glue the damaged casing back together. Some cheap super glue should be strong enough. The damage isn't very structurally important, and once 3 motherboard screws were removed, I could finally get it out. Like a lot of laptops from this time period, the processors were upgradable. This one has pretty much the best processor compatible with this system already, so I won't swap it out, but I will redo the thermal paste. Is it hard as a rock? Well, it's definitely not much of a paste anymore, and using some isopropyl alcohol, I was able to clean the die surface. Since it's such a thin laptop, I was surprised to see a cooling solution as robust as this, and even after 19 years of existence, it wasn't completely clogged. Only a small gathering of dust bunnies today. It was now time to go through and brush out any remaining debris from around the laptop. As far as I can tell, it was used extensively up until around 2010, so it likely saw next to no use after this time. The keyboard doesn't look to have been clean during that time, with quite a bit of grime in between the keys. A brushing with some eucalyptus oil got it clean once again. Next, I applied a small blob of thermal paste. Full coverage of the die is crucial since it has no integrated heat spreader like most laptop processors. I didn't have the exact battery on hand, but the CR1220 is the correct voltage, just a bit smaller capacity. And during the reassembly of any laptop, be sure to reseat all the connectors. Imagine having to take it all apart again just to plug one back in. Yeah, I've been there and done that before. And to keep the hinge screws tight, I applied a small amount of thread locker to the screws. Then, using some eucalyptus oil, I wiped down the casing. This should make it a bit more sanitary. I'd highly recommend cleaning your laptop if you plan on selling it. I'm definitely in the minority of people that enjoy cleaning tech. And last of all, I cleaned off the rather smudged LCD display, which came up looking nearly spotless. The missing paint I simply drew over with permanent marker, and I'm glad to say it survived the disassembly unharmed. First of all, let's take our big-wheeled monster for a spin with Monster Truck Madness 2. This laptop, unsurprisingly, handled this game with ease. It brings back so many good memories playing this. Another game I used to play a ton when I was young is Runescape. Old school Runescape is playable on here, however it is quite choppy. Star Wars Battlefront 2 at 640x480 on low settings is totally playable. This is quite taxing on the 32MB Radeon chip in this laptop though. Age of Empires 2 is a game that isn't very taxing and runs great on here. I had quite a bit of fun playing this match. Grand Theft Auto 3 at 640x480 is also very playable on the Compaq. I'd love to get a copy of Vice City to try on these old laptops as well. When it comes to browsing the internet, it can, however, I wasn't able to get YouTube videos playing. Does anyone know what the best browser for XP is? I'd definitely like to know. As a laptop for typing documents and playing the odd retro game, it's still usable. And to me, it's crazy to think that it's 19 years old already, and for $15, I think I did alright. Well, there we have it, another Windows XP laptop that'll be 20 years old before you know it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you want to see more, definitely consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.